We're at that point in the fall where many areas of the north have already seen a first frost, and we'll see what impact that actually has. You may have noticed also the big storm that moved down the spine of the Rocky Mountains this past week. That has left behind a wake of some mountain snow. The cool weather lingers into the northern plains. We'll see how this moves forward over the next couple of weeks. Precipitation-wise, we're still definitely looking at dry weather over the mountains, California, the western states, and the focus for rainy weather is the south and the east, but it's not a real storm track. It's more scattered thunderstorms and thunder showers that are setting up in that region of the country. Jet stream is actually going back pretty far north once again. The really cool weather, temperatures, afternoon highs in the 40s or 30s, they're still pretty far north. The warm weather continues throughout the Intermountain West, and in particular the desert areas, central areas of Oregon, Washington. Of course, South Florida remains warm. Much of the southern part of the Corn Belt is still fairly warm as well, and the northern plains have some fairly warm weather. There's a little trough of low pressure that's going to gradually this week build into the middle of the country. Doesn't look like a big storm system at all, but it will reinforce the cool weather into the northern plains. It's also going to pull up a little bit of heat, just a modest adjustment. I don't really anticipate that this week you're going to see any dramatic changes of cold versus warm. But there may be a gradual warming of the eastern U.S. and gradually as the next storm system begins to build in over the weekend and into next week, you're going to see a cooling out in the Pacific Northwest. This little system may bring some light precipitation here to the northern plains before that enters into the eastern Canadian Maritimes. And over the course of that next week in September, we're talking pretty late in the month now, talking around the time of the autumnal equinox, you're going to see a bit of ridging taking place, which will help dig a low pressure trough, which basically means there's a chance of a storm system to come out into the Midwest. Does not at this point look like any type of a huge storm system. The general precipitation pattern for this next week, September 13th through 19th, mostly dry in the western half of the country. It is fairly wet in the western portion of Canada. And we're still seeing a lot of showers and thunderstorms across the southern and eastern parts of the country. Now, when I say dry, that does not mean there is no precipitation. It just means I don't expect to see anything terribly organized. For the second week, I do expect at least a chance sometime toward the 22nd, say through the 26th. There could be some kind of a wave coming out of the Rockies, which might initiate some precipitation. At this point, though, it does not look like any widespread rain or snow, but it might be cool enough if it does happen in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, or North Dakota. There could be a little snow. Eastern U.S. will continue wet.